Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Swimrun Show podcast. I'm Mike and this week's guest is super swim runner Ben Thiesmeyer from the Alps. He loves the sport and he's been spreading the word over in the mountains there in Switzerland. He's a physio as well as a coach and he's got loads of experience of sport in general. And it's a great chat with Ben. He's hoping to defend his title in the mixed category with his race partner Delia at Engadin in Switzerland in 10 days' time. So there we go. Before that, though, quick recap on the weekend's races in the UK. Clanberis Swimrun, organised by Chloe of Love Swimrun, took place on Saturday. Great race. Studland, organised by David down on the south coast, took place too, debut event. So lots of swim running was had. And yeah, loads of new friends and old friends met on Saturday. So that was great. And yes, great to see the new faces and the work behind the scenes. Spreading the word is slowly getting out. So let's keep that going. What else? Oh, breaking news, guys. The Eliminator Autumn Edition is happening in Liverpool on Saturday, the 28th of September. Entries are now open at weswimrun.org. Limited entries. Same format, only slight change for this one. There'll be two separate races, one for the males, one for the females. So there we go. So let's crack on anyway with Ben, who, was a super guest, of course, and a super swim runner. Here we go, Ben Thiesmeyer. Okay, so Ben, how are you, Ben?
I'm all right, Mike. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. It's really in the heart of the season now, mid-June, and have you recovered from your fine performance in Uso?
Yeah, thank you. I recovered. I didn't have much time to recover because the trail running camp I organized up in the mountains in Switzerland in the Bernese Oberland, which is a beautiful area. Running on high altitude with a bunch of trail runners and swim runners. So
cool.
There wasn't much time to recover, but I think I'm all right.
Yeah, active recovery.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was okay. So trail running camp, and you had some swim runners on that as well, did you?
Yeah, we have a really cool spot. It was it's a really cool, old-fashioned Swiss-style hotel. There's lots of food, and unfortunately, they got a swimming pool close by, so we did mostly trail running through the day, but we could swim in after the runs as well. And we even found a few lakes and a few rivers to swim in as well.
Sounds perfect.
Slowly getting the trail runners convinced as well that swim run is the thing.
Yeah. It's a long battle. Yeah, that sounds good. And that was in the Swiss Alps, was it?
Yes. Yeah, cool. In the Jungfrau region, if everyone of your listeners might know, it's we were running kind of in between 2,000, 2,300 meters. So there was still a bit of snow on the highest points. But
nice.
That's fun as well. It's a bit of sliding down in the snow.
Yeah. I've heard there's quite a bit of snow still around in the Alps.
Yeah, we might get some snow on the Engadin course. My swimrun partner, Delia, she was on the Engadin course last weekend, and she said, there's still on the highest bit was some snow, but it might melt because now temperature's gone up a lot, so it's quite hot now. So
okay,
hopefully the water will get a little bit warmer for Engadin as well.
Yeah, well, it's all good, isn't it? It's all good.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think the temperature will be in the lakes?
In Engadin?
Yeah.
You have two different lakes, and normally the one which it's further back on the World Series course is 2 degrees colder. Mm-hmm. So I think that was at 7 right now, and the other one probably at 9. So yeah, I might get a degree warmer, maybe 2. So
Yeah,
but not much. I mean, it's only 10 days out, something like this. So
yeah,
I think it will be quite fresh for the swims, but it will be quite hot as well for the runs. So I think that's for me the special thing about Engadin. So the runs are really hot and the swims are really cold. So it's cool.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a bit like going to a sauna and then an ice bath afterwards.
Yeah, it's a great course. So yeah, last time I saw you was Uto a few weeks ago, and we were having it was a great social kind of atmosphere. It was lovely weather, which helps, and we were all having a chat afterwards. And one thing that sticks out from that whole weekend was we were having a beer. We see Daniel Hansen, Kristen Larsen, Adriel Young pulling on the one water race tops. This is about 2 hours after they'd finished. 2 hours that they'd competed at a very high level in the race, and they went off on an all-nighter. Not an all-night race, an all-night swim run, and the weather was getting pretty bad, actually. And off they went. It was amazing. Training for one water race, of course.
Yes, and I think they didn't take it easy in the race. I think they were racing because I think Adrian Young he won together with Hugo, and I think the others came second in mix. So yeah, very tough. So I heard you planning to put together a UK team for the one water race. So if you got similar sessions planned, then.
Oh, yeah. Well, it did give me the idea of having a team get together at Uto next year, 2025, and doing something similar. But we'll see about that. But yeah, that's what it takes, I think. To
and I think
perform.
if especially if you have a UK based team for that race, getting used to that. I mean, I'm presuming you get like super fit people, but I mean, I need to train in that environment.
Yeah,
why
ideally.
not? I would be happy to sit there and watch you getting out for the second one while I'm sitting there having a beer.
Yeah, well, I'll be on boat support, of course. But, yeah, no, it was just cool to see when they ran off. Everyone else is chilling out. Yeah, that was just cool.
Yeah, but I think that was probably a hard session for them as well. Yeah,
yeah. I saw a video someone posted afterwards, and it looked pretty rough. And I think someone said the water was 9 degrees during one of the swims, and yeah, there we go. But okay.
Well, yeah. Heads up to them. Yeah.
So, Ben, how did you get into swim run?
I did triathlon for a long time. I started off with like 13 years as a triathlete, and yeah, I did like Olympic triathlon mostly, quite competitive. And then went into long distance triathlon, and then kind of stopped a little bit because of I was doing so much triathlon in my life, and I wanted to do something else. I got into triathlon coaching as well, and then I studied physiotherapy, and then I worked in different sports as well. And yeah, I didn't have much time to train as well, as I was working for the Swiss national team in volleyball. And so I had to travel a lot, and the triathlon training became more difficult. And yeah, and then I was working for the Swiss fencing team as well. So I had 2 national teams kind of was working with. So my own training got even less. But then we had a change in stuff in the volleyball team, and the head coach was a trail runner. So I got into trail running because we were traveling the world. We were trail running everywhere. But trail running was still good. And I moved to Switzerland 10 years ago, and then, yeah, trail running is really cool here. So I got into trail running, but I didn't swim much for like about 10 years. And then COVID came, and I thought, I could do an Ironman again. So I did Thun again, Ironman Switzerland, and And then my wife said the next year, no, there's no another Ironman. So my best friend Marcus and me, we came with the idea of doing Engadin. Ötilo because we found it. We haven't heard about Swimrun before. But we found Swimrun on the on the internet. And then we did that and accidentally qualified for the World Champs, and then we did the World Champs the same year, and then I got completely hooked into Swimrun. So it was, cool. It's just the best thing ever since. And as I'm living very close to a lake, so I got really good conditions to train Swimrun, and it's more time convenient for me as well.
Yeah, so you said that your wife didn't want you to do an Ironman. Was that because of the time training?
Yes, that was because of the time.
Yeah.
But, then obviously getting hooked in Swimrun and training for the World Championship wasn't a big difference. But she was okay, and she's preparing for her first Swimrun now as well. She will start in Engadin as well. So she got hooked as well with Swimrun and prefers it a lot to triathlon as well. So we all happy now. Happy Swimrun family.
Yeah, that's win-win. That sounds great. So she's going to be she'll be at Engadin for that's the first race this year, Swimrun debut.
Yeah, and she's actually doing it together with Delia's mom. So Delia Guggenheim's my Swimrun partner. We start mix. She's quite young. As a young athlete, I coach. So her mom goes together with my wife. So it's kind of got two teams. Same families.
Cool. That sounds brilliant. That is a special aspect.
But they're just going to do the sprint. So we do World Series.
So you're not in direct competition with your wife?
Actually out right now training, so they're doing their part.
Good. Okay, well, won't keep you too long, Ben. I know you've got to get on your training. So you did with Marcus, was it? You did Engadin and the World Champs. And then you started racing with Delia. She's one of your coached athletes.
Yeah.
And you did a couple, was it Engadin and Uto with Delia in the mixed category, qualified for 2023. And I believe you won. Did you win Engadin 2023 mixed category?
Yes, yeah. We kind of had to because we wanted to go to the World Champs. So, and we went to Uto, but it's a very, very competitive team in the mixed category. But it was really cool because we realized, we close to the best teams in the world. So, and then it was Delia's first swimrun.
Okay,
and she actually just learned swimming the winter before because she's part of my coaching program and experience coaching, and she got there because she got injured as a runner, and she's a really talented runner, and because she was injured, I taught her how to swim, and then we realized, she's doing quite well. She's very dedicated, and then we thought, maybe we try swimrun session together, and then we realized, it works really well if she swims in my draft. And then somehow that worked in the race as well. And then a few weeks later we went to Engadin, and then we kind of won it. With so
that got you in.
Obviously we got a bit of home field advantage there, maybe with especially running the long downhills. I think that's something we both enjoy, so it gives us a bit of advantage in Engadin in particular in comparison to like the Swedish races. And then we did the World Champs together last year, so we came fourth. We were battling with another team for the podium through most of the race.
Brilliant.
And they lost. We lost against them, so we have to come back to complete that mission and step in on a world championship podium, hopefully. But there will be strong competition in the mixed category this year. Yeah,
the mixed category is pretty spicy, isn't it? Definitely in the Otelo races. So you're fourth at Uto last year, then you won Engadin, went to Worlds, and then fourth in the World Championship mixed category. I'd be interesting to see who, because you get a lot of partner swaps, don't you, with the Swedish guys and some of the
Mhm.
teams. So, yeah, it would have been interesting this year, actually, because you're solo this year, Nuto, weren't you? It would have been interesting
Yeah.
if you and Delia raced this year, because,
Yeah,
anyway.
it would have been a good test as well, because I think of all the World Series races, normally U2 is probably with the best competitors in it,
Okay.
and more similar to the World Championship race,
Yeah.
because same terrain. Even I think that the U2 is more like a runner's race for me. Where the world champs, I think swimming is more important.
Yeah, that's a good.
With the long swims and through the durations, and I think as a good swimmer on a world championship course, it's better. You at the advantage. You recover better, and because it's a long day, that works better being a stronger swimmer, and that's what like Delia and me focused on this winter. We knew we had to brush up our swimming.
Yeah. Uso's definitely. It's a runner's course and a transitioner's course, isn't it? And the swims are just you can blast out the swims or just not blast them out, but they're not. It's not going to last that long, however fast you swim, unless you. Yeah. But yeah, you're right there.
But a beautiful course. I mean, I really enjoyed it. It's
brilliant. Yeah. So, you're coaching, endurance coaching. It sounds like you do quite. So you were a physio with volleyball, national volleyball, and fencing team, and so there's quite a lot. Is there quite a lot of physio injury recovery stuff that you do, as well as the intensity training and the usual kind of training plans, etc.
Yeah, that was kind of the motivation to start endurance, to kind of combine sports physio and endurance training, performance orientated training. And I have a lot of athletes who join endurance for that reason, because they have recurrent injuries or they haven't been able to run for a long time, and then I kind of coach them back to that they're able to run, but as well coach them back to like a high performance level or wherever they want to be. So it's not only performance orientated athletes, it's as well people who just want to be able to run again. Yeah, it's mostly running injuries, where I would say I specialized over the last year, because I was a triathlon coach before, and obviously did a lot of endurance stuff. So I always had a lot of patience with this running injuries that followed me wherever I was, and then I wanted to combine that as well. Like with more competitive athletes, I think it's an advantage, because I mean they're very prone to get injured. So knowing where you can push or which signs you shouldn't ignore and pause or do alternative trainings, I think really helps to maintain good performance as well.
Okay.
So it's a combination of both. It's not just rehab. It's not just performance.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And are all your athletes that you work with, are they all based in the Alps or Switzerland or?
By now, yeah, I'm open for UK athletes as well to join the club. But so far, yeah, we all, I think everyone is not Swiss, but they live in Switzerland, or I think right now everyone is based in Switzerland.
Okay. And how many have you convinced?
We do training camps as well together. We do training, open water training sessions, swimrun sessions, trail runs. So yeah.
Sounds good. How many have you convinced, apart from Delia? She's well into it now. I assume she likes it. She's not just being towed along by yourself. But how many have you convinced to do swim run now, Ben?
In total, probably about 20.
Oh, wow.
So, and I see, probably like some trail runners, some triathletes. But I have to be a bit careful as well, because I like trail running and triathlon as well. So I like to coach that as well. And I don't want to be too direct. So it takes time to convince them. But yeah, I will have a really talented trail runner. She will be in Engadin as well now, and she learned to swim just because she loves swimrun so much. I find it sometimes easier to convince the concept of swimrun to trail runners than to triathletes. Because if they like going on beautiful trail runs and then they come to water, then now you don't have to stop at the water, you can just go on, and we got lots of legs, so it really makes sense. And but of course a few triathletes as well who don't like their bike as much. So
yeah
I find it easier like to get for my guys. I think there's more female athletes who transition to swimrun. I don't know how is it with you?
Yeah.
Sometimes because I don't like the technical aspect of the bike when they're triathletes, or don't know, they get the concept of being out in the nature.
Yeah, I think it is a higher percentage of swim runners in the UK races compared to triathlon. If you looked at the start list for most triathlons, I think it would be a higher percentage of men, whereas with swim runs, I think it would be a higher percentage of women. I'm not, this is just from observations. I haven't crunched any numbers.
Sure. Yeah, it's purely subjective from my end as well. It might be just because I sell it better to females. I don't know. It would be interesting. But I think there's still with the mixed category, obviously that's a special thing. But on the other hand, that takes away from the female category. That's something I would hope how swimrun develops as well, with stronger, purely female fields as well.
Yeah, that is a good point. I noticed this year at Uto, in the solo category, there was only one female that finished, the French lady.
Yes.
And I can't remember her name, but I'll try and remember. But she was very strong. What was it say?
Eugenie.
Yes, that's it. And she's strong, just over 4 hours, wasn't it? And then second, third,
very strong.
There was prize money up for grabs, and unfortunately, only one person finished the course. So yeah, you're right. There's the mixed category is awesome, and especially for couples as well, romantic couples, as well as team couples. That helps. Like we had Bill and Chrissy on last week, and that's cool. Daniel and Kristin Larson, of course. Daniel Hansen, Kristin Larson. And it's great when you see that, and the whole family gets involved. But it does take a little. I suppose it does. Yeah, it does take a little bit away from the female only category. But you could say, in contrast to that, you could say the mixed category takes away from the male category too. I mean, Adriel Young sometimes races in the mixed category. So it works both ways, I guess.
Well, for me, it's a win. I really like the mixed category. I really enjoyed racing mixed last year for the first year. I find it really challenging, and I think I learned a lot as an athlete as well. Because I think it really helps to have, especially in a long race. I think that's what I see with my female athletes from ultra running and swimrun and triathlon. They sometimes have the better race strategy, and testosterone doesn't always help in a 10-hour race. So I find that's why I like the category a lot. And what I didn't know before, you really, even if you there's mixed teams as well, where the female person might be the stronger athlete in one of the disciplines, but I find even if you have a bit of a gap with the tether, the toe line, if you knack it afterwards anyway, because you can put so much more in, and I find it really interesting to read your partner as well, and to discuss race options as well. So I think it's a wonderful thing in swimrun that got established.
Yeah, definitely. Touching on that a little bit. So was it your first solo race this year at Uto?
No, I did Cannes 2022 solo as well.
Okay. Because there's there's obviously mixed or male, female categories in the solo. In the team, and then you've got the solo, male and female. Obviously, you've got sprint, experience, World Series. Does it feel like? I understand from a race director's point of view, which I see. You're trying to get more people in at different distances, and trying to grow the sport.
Yes.
Does it feel like it's spreading almost too thinly, though, from a participant point of view? In some ways, that there's almost not enough people to sustain that number of different races in one event.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe in the small events might be a problem. I don't know. But it's probably in most sports like this. Like when you see running, you have all the different age groups. In triathlon, they got, I don't know, loads of age groups every 5 years. I think it gets really complicated. I think for that, swimrun, we don't have the age group thing yet so much. I mean, there's some races where you would have that, but like in the ultra-low races, we don't have it yet. And I think, it makes it, when you explain it to people, it makes it a bit more complicated. That's why when I raced Ute solo now, and everyone's saying, "Oh, well, where was Delia?" I mean, because people now finally understood that we do it together and we do the whole thing, and that takes a lot of explanation to people not into swimrun, and then suddenly you're racing solo. What are you doing? Spent the last 6 months to explain me that swimrun is something to do together. So I don't know. I probably in the future there will be certain races which are done teams and certain races which are done solo. I think both categories or both styles have the advantage. I really like the solo as well, because I feel it's a bit faster. You don't lose as much time in the transitions because you don't have to wait. You just go full gas the whole race. So I really like that. And I think it could be something especially for shorter races or up to World Series style races. And then I think the long stuff, ultra-low World Championships, warm water race, that will be still done as teams. And I think that's where it's great to do it as a partner as well.
Yeah, definitely. Did you see the main reason that it occurred to me at Ute was for the whole race. I was kind of 10th for the whole race, and I didn't see anyone. I didn't see any solo people in the World Series distance at any point. Apparently, I was looking at the splits, and towards the end, I overtook someone, got into 9th. I didn't notice them, and then they overtook me somewhere else. It must have been on the last islands. But I saw lots of other people doing. A lot of people, obviously, in the teams and the different experience and sprint categories. And I just thought it's a shame. But I guess that's just the nature of trying to grow the sport as a race organisation. Whereas I guess you did see a few. You finished 4th place, just off the podium. I guess you did have a bit of battle with a few folks.
Yeah, I was battling with like the guy who then took 3rd. Right. I was always swimming a little bit faster. He was running faster. Right. That was fun. And then on a longer run, I couldn't follow him anymore. So it was fun. But I see what you mean. As well, now it's like starting. Well, it was the first time where solo had a separate start, so we're starting 5 minutes behind. I think it was probably a bit more that you knew where you were, like in comparison to the others. But then it kind of, once we overtook the slower teams from the Team World Series race, then it got quite difficult in the water to know where you were. I actually thought I was 3rd the whole time. Because someone just told me, you're 3rd. And so it's definitely something where it would be nice to know better where you are. But I mean,
it's all part of it.
It's not a big thing for me. No. I think mostly it's about racing through nature and as well.
Yeah. You wanted to qualify directly, don't? Well, when you're in the team. So. but yeah, it's just one of those conundrums, isn't it, for organisers, I guess. And
a big advantage of the solo category, I find, is when I find that if there's only or before, when there was only teams allowed, or people who think there's only teams, turns people off if they don't know anyone they could race with. So I think that's why the solo category is really important. And I think it's so hard to find a partner who's a good match, because there's so many aspects. You need to have kind of the same performance level. You need to have the same mindset of racing. And yeah, you need to kind of get on with each other, at least for like a few hours and maybe for the whole trip. So I think it's, for that reason, I think solo is really important to grow the sport. And as well as I see teams, especially when they're racing a lot for a long time together. I think for training aspect, it would be really good for the partners as well to race solo ones, so they know their actually strengths and weaknesses and grow outside their team.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And and I find it interesting as well to mix it up. Like for me, it was like racing solo. I'm totally different to racing mixed with Delia, where we're more like a runners team. And like when I race on with myself, I would say I'm an all-rounder, but maybe a bit stronger on the swim this time. So it changed the race dynamic completely. So it was a really interesting experience.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the mindset is the thing to get right with your partner, definitely. And the performance obviously is important, but you can have differences as you do with Delia. You know, you're swimming stronger. You don't have to be spot on the running or the swimming, do you? But I think with the mindset and the getting on together is the most important thing for sure, especially the longer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if it's longer, then you get really annoyed with each other if one wants to chat to all the volunteers at the aid station and the other one wants to win the race. So I think that needs to be discussed first, whether you could just for fun team or something in between, or like. Yeah.
And on that point, when someone told, I guess it was someone at the aid station told you a third or someone like that, was it?
Mm-hmm.
And you were fourth. Yeah, I always add another place, because there's usually someone that's not spotted. So that's my top tip from and I did it at the weekend. I was racing in Clanberis, and I think someone said I was second or third, so I added one, so I was third or fourth. And in the end I was second going in and approaching the final swim, and then I switched off. What was different not racing in a team is when you were a team, you got four eyes in terms of navigation, finding the arrows, etc. I was following someone and I switched off a little bit. I was following a team and I was racing solo, and I realized he's going the wrong way. And I was like, oh God, just before the final swim. Anyway, I shouted twice to him. He didn't hear me. I cut back, and two people in the solo. No, one person had gone ahead of me in the solo, so I was then third, and another person in the solo was running alongside me. So I was like, oh my God, I've gone from second to potentially fourth here. Luckily, my swim was good enough to get back to second. But yeah, and I know, I've raced Clanberis a few times, and I took two little navigation mistakes. My fault. I just switched off on both moments, following someone else.
Yeah,
switched off,
of course.
Going for speed, just running, and so that I don't think I've been lost on a no to low race yet. But I've I guess that's because usually I'm almost always in a team, and I'm almost always not racing super fast in Otelo, whereas in Clamberis or shorter ones are potentially going a bit harder. So anyway, you can never switch off.
Cool, but you had another swimrun in Wales as well. Then racing Clamberis.
Clamberis, yeah, love swimrun organised by Chloe. On there. Great race, a bit more of a. I think it's a race.
That's near near Mount Snowdon, right?
Yes, near Snowdon. Or
so that sounds like quite a hilly course as well.
Yeah, there's the run before. Well, the kind of the final run really is the crunch. The crunch, kind of the deal maker. It's the big hill. It's about an 8.5K run, and there's a good bit of up and a great little bit of down. Yeah. You'd like it, I think. And there's two big swims. When I say big, I mean there's two 1 kilometer swims. So it's not loads of transitions. It's 4 swims, 5 runs from memory. And the second swim feels more like about 1.6K because you do a 500 meter swim, 550 maybe. Then there's like 300 meter run, really short run, and then just over a kilometer swim. So it's kind of swim heavy, but then you've got the 8K chunky run to kind of give the runners a shout. And David Molinari, he won in the end in the solo, and I think he put some time into me on that run. Well, I know he did. So
yeah, okay, it was good, cool. But yeah, I think that swim runs like this, I think for me, it's almost like a different category. I kind of named it Alpine Swimrun. So obviously it's not Alpine if it's in Wales, but that's how we train a lot here as well, where we go through leg and then run over a mountain and then swim in the next leg. And I think, it's totally different to the original, like the Swedish style, where you got lots of islands. So that's what we end up doing a lot, where we kind of have longer swims and then up to really long trail runs in between, and then get into another lake and then do that, and then you want to have a longer swim as well. I find it's almost a different race format.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I enjoy it quite a lot.
Yeah, it is different, and I think I prefer to do that style in a team, definitely, where you're doing that longer run, the longer swim. Probably less transitions. I think it suits the team, for me anyway, a lot better.
Yeah. Whereas, and as well as a team, it's really good to push uphill as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Or pull.
Yeah. Cool. So you're going to Engadin. You racing with Delia again, and she's all injury free now. You've worked your magic.
Yeah, she's She's injury free yet.
So
far, I hope it stays like this for the next 10 days.
And you've qualified already for 2024 World Champs, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the pressure's off in that sense, but of course you've got your own pressure to get on the podium, perhaps. I guess defend your title.
Oh yeah, we will try everything to defend our title. I haven't really had a closer look on the starting list yet. But I think we well in shape, and I think it's going to be fun. I mean, you never know who's showing up at such a race, but I think on that course, we will give everyone a hard time who's coming in the mixed category. I think we won't be able to compete with the men's team, but who knows? I mean, last year we came 5th overall, and we had kind of 29 minutes in front of the second mixed team. So maybe we could come close to the men's category, which would be really motivating as well.
Yeah, that was really impressive.
Like, there wasn't Adriel Young and Amanda Nielsen, sort of the best team last year. They were not there, so we don't know how good their downhill skills are. But it would be cool if some of them would come and then see how close we can actually get to one of the top teams in, let's say, normal style, Swedish style swim run, in our Alpine style swim run.
Yes, I like this kind of Alpine styles, Scandi style. I'm just looking at the start list. You've got a bit of competition from the Brits, guys. Jamie Robertson and Lottie Robertson. I don't know them, but
Good.
they've got the Union Jack there, the Union flag, and Oliver Hoxwell,
We will
Naomi
look out for
Mellor.
them, yeah.
Yeah, there's three British teams in it so far. I don't recognize the names, but I'm sure they'll give you a good run for them for your money. So, when's your next? So you had a training camp not long ago, last week or a couple of weekends ago.
I just returned.
Just
yesterday
returned.
night,
Wow,
yeah.
cool. And when's the next one? Or something similar to that?
Training camp, I don't know. First, we do Engadin. Well, I'm leaving to Engadin next Wednesday, so in a week. I'm trying to be there early, which is maybe a tip for everyone who's coming to Engadin. Maybe next year, maybe this year. It's too late to be there a few days ahead to adapt to the altitude. And Silver Plana, where the race is on 1,800 meters or a little bit higher. So when the race goes up, I think to 2,300. So it's good to be adapted to that. So yeah, then Engadin, then a short break, and then preparing for the World Champs.
Yeah, cool.
So
that training camp you just done, you were around 2,300 meters altitude, right?
Yep.
Well, it's probably too long a gap now, isn't it, to have any altitude benefit from that?
Yeah, and it's not long enough for that. And yeah, you normally say you should be 3 weeks sleeping, especially on altitude, and it's not. Yeah, we were on 1,600. We were sleeping on 1,600 meters, so it's not that high in. If you compare it to proper, say high altitude training camps, but I think it helps, and I think we amateur athletes, so I think we can improve a lot with just training a little bit more, sleeping a bit more, and maybe eating a bit better. But so. Yeah, and don't have the money to go for that long into high altitude. But I think it still helps when you used to going into high altitude, when you kind of used to that feeling, what feels the first day, not being able to breathe properly, your pulse being a bit higher, and stops people from panicking. That's what I sometimes see in Engadin when people come, maybe from sea level, and then they go there the day before and then are trying to race the World Series, and then a panic. It's more panic or psychologically effect, which slows you down than actually physiologically gains you get from a high altitude camp, how some professional endurance athletes would do.
Yeah. I didn't notice it at all when I did. This is 2015, but again, we weren't. We were just doing it for the experience. We weren't trying to place anywhere in particular. So maybe that helped. I guess if you went off thinking I want to be on the podium, I went super fast and into the swim and all the things that go on. And you first swim, it's a bit cold. You haven't got as much oxygen. I can see how that could get a bit panicky, possibly.
Yeah, it definitely plays a role as well. Like when you see the faster teams, they race almost at threshold levels on the I'm talking about anaerobic threshold. Like you stay under that, but you almost race in that area where oxygen intake is really important. And towards the slower end, you might race in lower intensity range where maximum oxygen intake might be not so important, more other things like glycogen storage and your general baseline endurance.
So do you have any, just going all your talk there about the technical aspects, do you have any swim run only coached athletes at the moment?
Oh yes, of course. Yeah,
you do. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I would have probably have 30% triathlon, 30% trail running, 30% swim run.
Okay, cool. And Alpine style swim run, I guess.
Alpine style swim run, yeah. But the idea is like I have rather competitive athletes on the trail running and triathlon as well. But I would like to build that in Switzerland as well, to have like a really competitive team. And I would have the infrastructure to do that. I'm just looking for people to contact me and say, look, I want to be a professional swim runner. And then to facilitate that and put all the work in with performance diagnostic of it, with the swim diagnostic we can do here, with the training, the spots we have to train swim run, all kinds of swim run, not just Alpine swim run.
Yeah.
We got I live by a rather big lake, so we can simulate Sweden a little bit.
Yeah. Which lake is that? Is it the Zurich? Is it?
That's Lake Zurich, yeah.
Yeah, cool. And in terms of your swimming there, what's because it's a thing in the UK, the swimming pool access. Some parts of the world are great. Some parts of the UK are better than others. What have you got? Have you got a few 25-meter pools, a 50-meter pool, outdoor Lido? What have you got? As well as the lake,
we got indoor 25 only, but with good access to it. And we got like a Flumi, like a stream channel with 3 options to record videos. And and a 50-meter outdoor pool, which is close by the lake. So
nice. That's
I prefer to swim it. I personally swim in the winter in the 25-meter pool, and then in summer I mostly swim outside, and then I do a few threshold sessions indoors still, or in the 50-meter pool. Sometimes just helps because you know what speed you're swimming.
So why do you prefer the 25-meter to the 50 in the winter?
Because the 51 is just it's an outdoor pool. It's closed.
Oh, okay, because it's cold. Okay, right.
Yeah. So I would prefer the 50-meter pool. It's just not there.
Okay, not as pleasant.
I would have to travel a bit further to the 50-meter pool, but the 25-meter pool is just like in 5 minutes walking distance.
Makes sense. Yeah,
it makes it easier to combine it with work.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. There's not. It is. There's not many 50-meter pools in the UK. So yeah, it kind of feels like that's a luxury. And then and are they busy, the pools? Or do you have your own slots, or how you've got plenty of access, or not?
Well, no, it's a problem. Like as well for us, like working with a swimming club as well, where coach kids swimming, and it's difficult to get enough water time as well. But for me, it's not such a big problem because I'm quite flexible to swim in times where other people don't swim, other people are at work. So because most of my athletes work full time, so I talk to them or train with them in the hours when they're off. So I would have time for my training in the afternoon. So I'm kind of spoiled in that sense. So really, really grateful for that right now that I've got good access to swimming. Yeah. And as well, I do a bit of winter swimming, something I got in as well through Swimrun. So I'm trying to swim the whole year round in Lake Zurich, but only in January it will be only 10 minutes, something like that. So that helps for the cold adaptation as well for swimrun races, and I think it's a really good thing for a swim runner to be really good adapted to colds.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's not an endurance training.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good thing to do. And the endless, the flume pool, I think we call them endless pools, but is that within the swimming pool complex venue?
No, it's owned by Roy Hinin. He's a former professional triathlete and triathlon coach, and I cooperate with him. He coached me over the winter as well to improve my swimming. So he just rents an old garage and he has it in there. It's quite rustic, but it really does the job.
Yeah, I did see one of your videos over winter. I think you were in it.
Yeah, it's an old garage, but there's like a lot of world class triathletes come in there to do the analysis there.
Okay, cool.
So.
Well, you've got it all. You've got Lake Zurich, and then you've got a few pools and a flume.
Yeah, and for me, it's really interesting as an endurance coach to figure out the best way to train for swimrun. I think in general, swimrun is a great way to improve your endurance, especially for beginners as well. I really like it when I have people who recover from injury or not trained at all. I think it's a really cool way to get into fitness. And yeah, just a mode of swimrun, like training swimrun specific, at least for the summer months, and then in the winter months, separating it a bit more like triathlon style swimming. I was experimenting a lot when I first got into swimrun. I did most of my sessions were swimrun sessions, which I think really helped to build endurance and get transitions improved to like a really fast level. But now I'm kind of reversed a little bit back now, and I have a mix, like maybe 2-3 swim runs a week, and the rest would be more classic running sessions and classic swimming sessions, maybe even in the pool or just swim sessions outside. Yeah, that's what I see as well working with most of the swim runners.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. That sounds... Yeah, that the transitions that they're going to standing up from coming out of the water, climbing up the rocks, and vice versa. More so, the getting out of the water can take it out of people, especially if it's a bit cold, and to get your legs working again. Yeah, and the more training you do, the better. Yeah.
Yeah, and I found like when I start swimrun training with people, it doesn't matter how fit they are, they all have this problem with running straight away, a bit dizzy, and running on then slippery surfaces. And yeah, I find that's something you can improve really well if you do a lot of swimrun sessions. I think your brain just adapts to having less blood, and you become more efficient in running straight away.
Yeah, that reminds me.
And I think it's, for me, it's more fun, and that's very different to my time as a triathlete, because as a triathlete, you normally, you never do a full triathlon. You do that in the race. You might do a few brick sessions, but this swimrun is it's the best session you can do. It's most specific, most fun. So yeah, I think that's a big difference between these two sports, and that's what I enjoy. So it has this, especially in summer, it has this kind of surfer lifestyle where you just have your wetsuit hanging there and you just go to the lake, run, swim, and then come back and then relax. So it's definitely less structured and more fun.
Yeah. Definitely. And that reminds me of that chat about that whole kind of adapting your body and maybe your goggle situation. You don't wear goggles, do you, Ben, when you're swimming?
No, I stopped wearing goggles in races last year. I think I was in a training session in Engadin, and I realized, it's really annoying, and I just put them in my wetsuit, and then I realized, it's a lot better without. Why is everyone wearing goggles? And I think, it works if you're not wearing contact lenses. But yeah, for me, it's a really good thing, and I would every one of your listeners like to try it. And give you for me, it's a big advantage swimming without goggles, because I think I swim a straight line more than others, because I can see where the flag is, I can see the land, I can see my competitors, and I don't really want to see what's under the water. I mean, sometimes it's nice, but especially in many of the swimrun locations you don't see much anyway. Except for Cannes, I swim with goggles because the Mediterranean Sea is too salty. But last year I was in Wales for 2 weeks, and I swam in the Irish Sea without goggles as well. That works really well.
Yeah.
And all the Swedish races is brilliant without. I mean, the East Coast Swedish races, like Bertilö, Ute, work really well without goggles. I don't know why goggles are such a big thing, and people lose a lot of time with putting them on in transitions, and don't know.
Well,
it takes a bit of practice.
Yeah, and I'm guessing a few listeners would be surprised at that, but I guess it's come from the pool. I mean, pool swimming, generally people wear goggles, I guess, and then and some people. I'm happy without goggles. I tend to race in them, but I'm starting to wonder now. I did in the World Champs last year. We got to the end of Orno, a long run section, as you know, and I was so keen to get in the water, and I was leading the swim after Orno. So keen to get in the water because it's quite warm during that run. I just went in, dived in, and my goggles were still on my head, on my cap. And I was swimming along. I didn't notice for about 5 strokes. I was like, something's strange. Oh, I haven't got my goggles on. And I put my hand up, and they'd flown off when I dived in. And so I just carried on, and it was absolutely fine. But I mean, the water's salinity in the archipelago is perfect, I think, for swimming without goggles. And finished the race, no problems at all on that race without goggles. And I've done a bit of swimming without goggles, mostly when I've forgotten my goggles, rather than planning a session. So maybe that's helped. But I know John Clanberris, a couple of years ago, John Littlewood was racing with Fred Newton, and they were doing well. And John lost his goggles, and it kind of messed up his swimming. John leads the swims. I don't know if it was a psychological more than a physiological, but it completely ruined his swims. So I guess you could have practice.
You could have practiced. That maybe makes sense for swim runner to practice for that occasion as well when you lose your goggles accidentally.
And some people take spare goggles. That's a top tip for if you're so dependent on them. Now I've kind of gone through the process of losing goggles. I'm not bothered. I wouldn't take a spare. I might lean towards racing without them in the future. Need more practice. But it's interesting. Stefan, I think Stefan did used to race without goggles. The current race director of the European branch of Otelo. I'm pretty sure he used to race.
I could imagine that because I think he it's a bit of for me as well like a minimalistic approach towards swimrun. So having less sometimes is more.
Yes, I agree. 100%. The goggle manufacturers will be disappointed, but I'm sure they've got lots of business in other sports. But,
I mean, I still swim in a pool with goggles, but that's like training in the lake. I always take them off now. I find it uncomfortable when I'm in the lake or in the sea. Then you have waves pushing against your goggles, and your water in the goggles. Then they're steaming up, and too much hassle.
The one thing I will say about I do actually like staying underwater. I love it. It kind of relaxes me. Which you can open your eyes a bit and see stuff, a bit blurry. But on some swims, sometimes you see a kind of rock that's just below the surface. That can help, but you probably feel that with your catch anyway on your swim. So, yeah.
And you see that. I think it actually improves the scene underwater. I read something about like the sea nomads in Indonesia, and
sea nomads,
they start diving for shells like early on when they're kids, and they can actually see underwater just like normal, so their eyes adapt to the situation. I think that water got a high salt content, so I think we could adapt. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit biased, but I feel that my eyes adapt a little bit as well now, where I can actually see quite well underwater.
Mm-hmm.
So I see most things up to 2 meters, sometimes depending how clear the water is.
Yeah. Okay, let's start adapting. Go back to nature. What about barefoot? No shoes either. I could see you doing that one day.
Yes. So no, I think it would be great. I think it would work on a beach. And we actually, when I was doing Olympic triathlon, we did that as training sessions quite a lot. In like a big outdoor swimming pool with a lot of green around it, grassland around it. We would do that. We had several pools. So we would do already like swim runs with really high intensity through different pools, but running on grass. And I think it would work on a beach area as well, really well. And there's these rescue swimmer competitions as well where they do that, running barefoot on the beach and then swimming. So I think
it could
I'm not sure whether I will ever go barefoot on Attila over all these rocks and
on Engadin or There was a guy who did
not yet.
There was a guy who did the UTMB, so the Wales, North Wales version of the UTMB qualifier. He did it barefoot, and people who've done the UTMB in France and the one in Wales. People have done both. They say the Wales one's harder. I don't know, but yeah, he did it 100 miles. I think it's like 16,000 meters of height gain or something crazy. Over 10,000 meters of height gain anyway. On rocks, it's not, obviously. It's
without any shoes, or was he wearing shoes,
no shoes,
like these?
No shoes. Yeah. Tough guy, There we go.
Maybe you should introduce him into swimrun. Maybe he would like it and swim without goggles as well.
Yeah, I will. Cool. Good stuff. Right, Ben, I think we've had a good chat. We've covered quite a lot of ground there, I think. And I won't be at Engadin, but good luck with Delia and Delia's mom and your wife as well. I'll be checking the trackers and have a good time out there.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. I feel really honored being part of your show. Think you're doing a great job there. And I'm a keen listener. So thank you very much for having me.
No worries. Thank you, Ben. And Ben's got his own podcast. I'll link to it in the show notes. Is it in German language or is it in Swiss? I can't remember.
Yes, unfortunately it's in German, but you might have some listeners who speak German.
2%, at least 2. I think it's 3% of the listeners on Spotify. Yeah.
So we have I run a podcast together with my swimrun partner Delia. So we cover a bit of all endurance training background and.
Cool. And it's called X-Durance, is that right? EX-Durance?
Yeah, it's called the X-Durance podcast. Or
yeah, I'll link to it. Cool. Nice one, Ben. Thank you. Speak soon.
Thank you. Bye, Mike.
Bye. Okay, that was a great chat with Ben. Ben Thiesmeyer. I'll be rooting for him at Engadin, and check out his podcast if you understand German or if you want to just listen to German, the X-Durance show. I think it covers swimrun, of course, and some other sports as well, I guess, and there's probably some physio stuff involved. So I believe you can translate podcasts. I need to look into that. But there we go. Thank you, Ben. And what else is happening this weekend in the UK? There's a race down in London, Thames Young Mariners, organised by South East Swimrun. Check that one out. It's a short one. Looks like a fun, friendly event, as they all are, of course. Check it out. And what else is happening? In a couple of weeks, there's Swimrun Gower, the return, in a slightly different format. So that should be cool. It's warming up here in the UK. Hopefully it won't get too warm. That's it. What else? I believe there's a massive pull buoy on the way to my front door, courtesy of the Low Tide Boys competition that I won, and courtesy of Arc Sports, of course. The Kiel Mega, I think is due to arrive tomorrow. I'll be testing that one out. Yeah, more news to come on that one. So there we go. Happy swim running, guys, and stay tuned for next week's episode.